All right, hey everyone. So our question today is: if you closely observe a student ministry that was making no impact on parents, what would you expect to see with teenagers? And then what would you expect to see as those teenagers graduated high school? So that's our question for today. I'm actually going to pass this over to Joseph and then Zach, and then I'll finish this off.
All right. Yeah, thanks. So I think we talked about this answer is pretty obvious, it feels like, but the less you pour into the parents, then the less, unless you disciple the parents, then the less the parents are going to disciple their youth at home. And so whenever they leave the house and they're not in youth group anymore, and they graduate and they're gone, and their parents aren't discipling them or holding them accountable after that, then you can't really expect them to want to or to really stay involved. So I was telling the guys here that one of the things that God's been putting on my heart this year before the quarantine situation was to actually just do a pretty simple thing, just have lunch with a different youth parent every Sunday. That had to come to an end because of this quarantine, but it's something that God's been putting on my heart just to disciple the parents and help see them kind of grow in their walk with Christ, so that they can push their kids and help them and disciple them so they grow in their walk with Christ.
Yeah, just like Joseph said, the statistics are pretty bad when it comes to kids that aren't getting anything from their parents, and that's a big responsibility of a youth pastor and church, is to pour into parents. I know that just in my history of when I grew up in youth group, I had friends that even though they had Christian parents, whether it was Christian parents or not, a lot of teenagers were just done by their senior year. They moved on. They're ready to go to college. They're ready to graduate high school and leave everything behind. But even however small the statistics are for kids that aren't having Christian parents, that aren't being poured into, they may actually be committed in youth group, but after they graduate high school, they have nobody to pour into them. And so that's when they fall away. I've seen that a lot. And just kids who don't have a strong family and faith, and that the youth minister is not pouring into them. After they get out of high school, if they go to college, they may look for a college group. And then after college group, they may not look for another group because they had never been in the actual church. They didn't grow up being taught what it is to be a part of the church. And I think that's a big part of it, because when you're pouring into parents, your parents are going to pour into them. And that's the church right there. If the parents are going to pour into the students, they're going to introduce them to church. They're going to bring them to church and get them plugged into what it means to be a church member. And that goes a long ways. If that's not happening, then yes, the statistics are going to be high on kids falling away. So.
Well, I completely agree with both Zach and Joseph about this topic. And, one of the interesting things about this is that if we're not making an impact on parents are the number one disciples of their own kids. And so they're not being equipped to do the work that they're honestly called to do. And kids are the biggest blessing that we have in this life when it comes to, in a worldly manner of this is, in our part of our inheritance when it comes to it. But what I really want to talk about is that there's ceilings that we hit when it comes to, if we're not discipling parents, we're only discipling students. There's certain ceilings that we hit just because of the kind of boundaries we have in this world when it comes to time and the amount of time we get to spend with them. Parents have exponentially not more time with their own kids than we do. And so if we're not really discipling them, then they're not really discipling their students, at least in a manner that we're not equipping them to do the work of the ministry. So that falls back on us. The other part of this is that what do we expect for teenagers that don't have parents that are discipling them, or really us as youth ministers not making any kind of impact on parents? I think when they do graduate, that they may see it as just more of a tradition, something that they are to do as a part of, this is a part of their routine, and not have as much of a heart connection for the gospel and honestly the relationships they have with others. So that's kind of what we talked about tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see y'all next time.